Hello, puppies and kittens. Welcome to another episode of SkepTalk. This is Aron, and I am joined once again by a fellow anthropologist, Natalia Reagan. And Reagan, you've got. I know you wanted me to introduce you as an anthropologist and or a scientist and comedian, but you're going to have to explain that because
Oh,
those two
yeah.
don't usually go together.
No, I mean, I feel like I have an unfair advantage of making science funny because I studied monkeys, despite what this picture has in the background. I'm not in the Galapagos, and that is a tortoise, not a monkey. But yeah, I combine science and comedy, hopefully to make it a little bit more palatable and just distill it down for the masses because I feel like comedy is a great way to get it across. And of course, studying primates, I got the unfair advantage. But I used to work for Neil deGrasse Tyson writing comedy, and I've done it on a lot of different other shows where I try to bring levity to a subject that might seem a little overwhelming for folks, including Bigfoot. I hosted a Bigfoot show years ago,
Now,
like everyone does.
you used to do a TV show with
Hmm.
Neil deGrasse, right? So
Yes.
where are you doing? Where's somebody most likely to see you do the comedy presentations now?
Well, most recently, I was on a cruise ship off the coast of Peru doing my show, Survival of the Filthiest. I also did it off the coast of
Right.
Namibia last fall. So, and I took it to Glastonbury last summer for the big Glastonbury Music Festival. So I do a science comedy hybrid stage show where it's the Survival of the Filthiest, a totally wild, weird, and salacious science of sex. But I also, I still appear on episodes of Paranormal, or I'm sorry, History Channel's Unbelievable and Unexplained, Nat Geo's Everything You Didn't Know About Animals. I have done podcasts for Scientific American and again for Star Talk. So, and I also do a show on YouTube called Survival of the Filthiest, same title. I like to keep things simple yet confusing. And I took a little bit of a hiatus, but we're going to get back to that in the next few months. So, woohoo.
Okay, I did one presentation on a cruise ship,
Uh-oh.
but it was one I could plan for like 2 years because COVID suspended everything. So I was supposed to do this presentation on this cruise ship, and I said, you know
Yes.
what? I'm gonna talk about death.
Ooh.
I'm going to talk about all these terrible like abortion and death with dignity and what it's like to lose a loved one. And I'm going to do this completely emotional
Good grief.
thing about the death penalty. You know what we're doing in our justice and everything, and I'm going to make it funny.
I think death can be hilarious. My brother and I always end up sitting next to each other at funerals and laughing our butts off. So how was it?
Well, it worked out really well. I wish the audience was a little bigger, but it is a cruise ship. Yeah, it was the kind of presentation that would have worked much better in a really big room.
Yeah.
But there was like, I don't know, 80 some odd people
Yeah.
in that intimate venue, so it worked out really well.
I
But
bet
it's
you killed.
difficult to take those things, and it was one of the complaints that I got was that it was a roller coaster. So it
Hmm.
started out really funny, and then it got really sad. And then how the fuck am I laughing again? I haven't wiped all the tears off, and then I'm sad again, and then that's fucking funny again.
That's a dream review. That's what you want is you want that. So that is life. You just described life and death. No, I think it's great. I think that well, I've only done two cruises and they both were boutique luxury cruises. So the demographic skewed older, we actually did have a death on the first cruise I went on, which was pretty crazy because we actually were on St. Helena Island in the middle of nowhere. It's the second most remote island in the world. And, but I feel like people really dug the topics I covered. I mean, they loved the humor. It was one of those things where when I signed up to work with this cruise company, they knew I did science comedy, and they actually asked me to take all the spicy bits out of my acting reel or my hosting reel, and I said, okay, fine. So I took them out. I submitted it, and then the next morning, it was a Thursday that I submitted it. Friday morning, I got a message saying, "Hey, this is great. Can you be, by any chance, in the Canary Islands by Tuesday?" And this is Friday. So I had to, and within 48 hours, I had to get on a plane, and this cruise went to West Africa. So it actually left on Saturday, but I was gonna meet them in the Canary Islands, and I ended up doing 8 different lectures, but I had to build them on the ship with ship Wi-Fi, which it's terrible. You know what I mean? You're in the middle of
Yep, been
nowhere.
there.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So it was a very arduous process. Same with the most recent one. I did the Panama Canal, and which I've been to, but I've never been through. And so I got to narrate. I spent over 3 hours narrating, and on your left is a spider monkey named Steve who still owes me $50. No, but I got to go through the whole lock process, the history of building the Panama Canal, the French, the Americans, but also, when Cortez was, they first showed up, they're like, do we do it in Nicaragua or Panama or this or that? And also just really giving a lot of credence to the indigenous population, because they always get forgotten when we talk about huge, feats that humans have done at the expense of the indigenous population, because many were displaced. So anyways, it was fun, but it was a lot of work, and a great opportunity to talk about anthropology, primatology, and science in a funny way to people that, might not have an opportunity to talk about, moche sex pots, or, spider monkey hypertrophied clitorides, things like that. That's the plural term for clitoris. You're welcome. I'm sorry.
Well, if you're listening in, the number is in the description, +1 720 619 2288. You can call in live and talk to us. And we prioritize on this show. We'd like to talk about people who don't necessarily agree with us on religion or politics. And in particular, when we get into religious fundamentalism, because Natalia and I both have experience arguing with creationists. Matter of fact, today, I spent a good deal of time on Facebook. I'm just trying to advertise this. I've got all these people that want to argue with me on Facebook. They want to waste my entire life on Facebook arguing with them. I'm like, I don't have time for this. But if you call in, I will definitely have time. And these people say, I will destroy you. I will vaporize you. Oh, okay. Call in. Let's see it happen. I'll be happy to school you there. But for whatever reason, we don't have to see your face. You don't got to worry about your makeup.
Oh, that's really too bad. Yeah, I know. Call. Come on. We don't bite. And we already discussed this. If we do bite, the canines of Aron have been worn down over time, so they're not as lethal as they used to be. So please call in. And I have a toothache, which means I'm useless. I can barely bite you, so you're safe until we eviscerate you with our claws. Yeah, and I mean, and Aron and I are different too. I am not, and Aron loves to tell me that this will change, but I am not a self-proclaimed atheist. I always say I'm agnostic, but that doesn't mean I don't believe in the theory of evolution by natural selection. And that's not to say I won't go toe to toe with a creationist. And I do think that I've met people that were able to maintain their religious belief, but also prescribing to the theory of evolution by natural selection. So
I don't know that we
yeah.
ever had this conversation. It doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah. You always tell me I'm going to change eventually. You've told me a
Yeah,
couple
that happens.
times.
I've had a couple of friends who tell me that, my best friend in the whole world, Harley mechanic in Arizona,
Mhm.
he told me one day that, well, you can't be, or she can't be, talking about a mutual friend. She goes, she can't be atheist because she doesn't know there's no God. And then we have to have that conversation.
Mm.
And so he realizes that he's an atheist and didn't know what an atheist is, and he was resistant.
Mm.
And my closest friends have that conversation. Stop trying to make me an atheist. I'm not trying. I'm just telling you what
Yeah.
it is.
And that's fine. I'm big on I don't mind people believing what they believe as long as they're not enforcing it on others. I
The way
don't
that I try to put it
you want
very
to
simply, because there's a lot of people that want to tack on a lot of things, a lot of people that want to reverse things.
yeah.
So when I
Yeah.
grew up, I grew up being told that, that God is a conclusively proven scientific fact.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. Sure it is. And that it was as absurd to question whether there is a God as it would be to question whether the U.S. has a president.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the way. And what is an atheist? An atheist was somebody who believes in nothing,
Hmm.
which by translation means does not believe in anything on faith, because they have to reverse everything into its polar opposite so that every unbelief becomes a belief in un. It has to be in the form of a belief. We have to have a belief in evolution. You have to have a belief in no Godism. And always they say that you can't take the position that maybe that's true and maybe that's not right, but I remain unconvinced, because that puts you in the unconvinced category. No, you've got to be convinced of un. It has to be a belief that there is no God. If you don't believe that the statement is true, then that means that you have to have a belief that it is false. And this is one of the sad effects that I see of binary thinking. Because most things, I will say, okay, well, I will entertain if there's a possibility to entertain. I may go about my life as both of these are potentialities. This one vastly more probable. This one almost certainly not true, but still, play it safe.
Right.
Yeah, people don't understand how to look at the world with nuance.
When I did the Bigfoot show, I would often say that the
Tell us about the Bigfoot show first.
Oh God, there's nothing really more to say other than I did it, because it also was hosted by the now ICE agent. Terrible. Yeah, I know. I don't know, Dean Cain, who was already conservative then, and we were told that, and I was very outly and loudly liberal. From the time I became a vote, well, even before I became a voting person, I was very loud and proud and, about my beliefs and all that jazz. But it was in 2013, and it was Dean Cain was the host, and myself and Dr. Todd Disotell were the co-hosts. And we knew that he was Republican, but we didn't, that was it. This is 2013. So like, we just are coming off the heels of like Mitt Romney. And the worst thing was like the binders of women and him putting his dog in a crate on the car, which was horrifying. I mean, now we got Kristi Noem shooting dogs. Like, but point being, we just didn't talk politics. Right. And the show itself was a competition show, 9 teams of 2, having to find biological DNA evidence and or photographic evidence. I think it was both. I think you had to find, which photographic evidence doesn't matter if you have DNA evidence. It's like one completely overrides the other. It's ridiculous. I mean, photographic evidence could be faked a million different ways. But yeah, so they had to find DNA evidence of Bigfoot, which meant that like every episode we had an elimination round, which was hilarious because they just brought in piles and piles of shit, because that's the only biological evidence they were going to find of Bigfoot, right? They did bring in some hair sometimes, and by hair, it was always moss. And so I was hired to be the, what's the word? Did it freeze? Am I frozen?
You're not
I
frozen.
think I went away for a minute.
Oh, no. Yeah. I was like, he seemed so entranced.
Talking.
I was like, wow, do I just keep going? No.
Yeah, we did have a couple of callers.
Oh,
so
good.
I'm going to go ahead and jump into those. Yeah, we don't have any theists yet. We have atheists.
Great.
But we'll go ahead and talk to them as well. So first one up, we should be talking to Seth in Minnesota.
Hello,
Seth,
Aron.
can you hear us?
Hello, Natalie.
Hi. How are you doing?
How you do?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. Where are you in Minnesota?
Okay, and what is your question or topic?
Sorry. The main issue I'm having is I'm trying to reconnect with a lot of family members despite my atheist and secular humanist ideas, and trying to reach them on some common ground level. So because I get the sense from them there's still love and care there, it's just I hate the eggshells we're walking around each other when we have conversations.
Yeah. Are they people that you can see in person, or is this something that you have to do over phone calls or Zoom?
Some of them phone calls, because one is in, let me think about it, Tennessee, and the other is in California. Those are the main ones I got contact with. I also have some friends from the church I went to for a few years ago for 2 years, because I tried it again and it didn't work. but the other one is my brother, and he's the closest one. He's actually like 10 minutes from me.
And do you guys, I mean, do you get together with your brother, or is this something that you're just trying to mend fences because it's been sort of severed for a while?
Yeah, it's been difficult with me and my brother because we've really had our life experiences have really diverged. We don't share a lot in common anymore in hobbies and interests and anything like that. And I'm just trying to reach him. And because he did something for me very recently, he bailed me out, and he didn't have to. He probably wouldn't have done it for anybody else.
Okay. So it sounds like he's willing to still be in contact if he's willing to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't thank him or essentially love him enough for that, because he actually said, "I have to love you. You're my brother."
Ooh, ow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, me and my brothers, not so much. My brothers
hear
changed
that.
their phone numbers so that I won't ever call them again.
Oh, wow.
I hear you, and I do call him frequently for things I have questions about or important concerns, and he's been very helpful.
Well, I'm glad for that, and I'm glad that you have a better option for making that connection than I do. I got a call from a good friend a couple of days ago who went to go visit his parents. He's staying with them for a bit, and he called me. He said that he can't deal. He needs absence for the heart to grow fonder. He says he can't deal with seeing what they have become with their extreme fundamentalism, not just religious but also political. If you see, he said he can't stand seeing the hatred and the judgment and the bigotry and all of that just that come. He says that they never used to be like this. So yeah, that's the divisive effect that we have now, where people can't.
Yeah,
I remember back in the 80s, I would be friends with all kinds of people that I wouldn't be friends with today, because back then we didn't know who you voted for.
Yeah,
didn't.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I've had to drop friends because of their bigotry.
Yeah. So I wish I had advice, but I'm an absolute failure in that area.
Well,
I mean,
I will.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Natalie. What did you were say something?
Yeah, it's actually Natalia, but don't worry, I answer to most things. But yeah, I feel like if your brother is open and you're open to having a dialogue, I mean, it's always good. I don't know. I love my brother. My brother and I are very close, and we do have the luxury of seeing eye to eye on a lot of things. But I do have other family that it is different. You know, I know that there is a difference of opinion, and as probably how we voted. And I guess I know that you said you don't have a lot of overlap anymore in terms of common ground, but even if you're able to, you know, try to at least talk about the history between you two, because sibling relationships are so interesting, because it's kind of like your last link to who you were when you were a child, right? It really is. It's those memories that are so that you can sit and you can laugh about, even though you might not agree with what you have to say right now. If you can maybe find it a way to talk about the past, or even going through old photographs and things like that. I know it sounds silly and it might be, you know, hard to do, but I think that sometimes that gives you just some sort of foundation to go from. I don't know how different his views are. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he is what's going on in Minneapolis, if he's pro ICE, like that would be very hard for me. That's something that I like there's a lot of hard lines I have, and it's tough. But if you feel like it's worth trying, I think maybe some reminiscing, going through old photos, maybe of allowing things to come up and have a cordial conversation if you can, about his current line of thinking. But again, I don't know what your differences are, if it's just religion or if it's religion and if he's politically supporting what I would call a fascist regime.
He did
So-
vote for Trump, and some other
Yeah.
family members I know did as well.
Yeah, that's
He has said before. He has
Yeah.
said before that I don't know if he supports what's going on right now exactly, but I know he definitely has voted for Trump and has supported Trump throughout a lot of this.
Well, don't wonder whether he supports what's going on now. He probably doesn't know what's going on now. You know, I go to visit my mom in the old folks' home that she's in, and she's watching Fox News as she always does because she has to fill her mind full of poison. And when I walk in there, Fox News is saying that woke liberals ruined the economy. Not the tariffs.
No.
Not what every economist said would happen exactly the way that it happened. If Trump does this, all of this exactly, and this is exactly what happened, right? No, it's not like that. It's woke liberals who had nothing to do with anything in this situation and couldn't have had.
Exactly. 100%.
So if a Republican produces a bill that cuts my mother's Social Security and her Medicaid and diminishes the number of nurses working in the facility that she needs, because that was another thing that they passed, right? They no longer have a minimum number of nurses. They can now be understaffed, right? And my mom's complaining about it, and I don't know how to tell you about it. You voted for this, Mom. Yeah. This is what you wanted. Yeah. But if a Republican comes up with a bill that cuts all of her benefits and makes everything worse for her, and then only Republicans vote for it, no Democrats, and Democrats lobby against it, but can't do anything to stop it because they don't have the majority. And then it is signed into law by a Republican. My mother will say the Democrats did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I 100% agree with that. I'm very left-leaning politically. I don't know how left I would say I am, but very much. I would say I'm definitely not for the majority of Democrats in the House and Senate, because they are.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you that the number of good guys in Congress there's a minority of them, and they are all on the Democrat side. Even of the Democrats, the good guys are still a minority.
Yeah.
So most of Congress should just be dispensed with, but there's only a handful that are definitely worth keeping.
Yeah, that are actually working for their constituents.
So going back to my brother, I remember one thing I mentioned to you when I talked to you last time, Aron, is that I talked to you how he doesn't accept evolution because I mentioned that I do, and he is also a transphobe.
Ooh.
That's what happens when you can only think in binary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think I've really met a trans person yet, not face to face. If I've seen one, I'm not sure, because that's not for me to judge, obviously.
Mm.
Okay. And my thing, but in a phone call when he started talking, when I think it got to that conversation, and he started basically getting upset, raising his voice and saying, he's a man, or it's a man. And then I'm trying to counter that with,
dehumanizing, using the term it. No, that's the kind of stuff. That's what really, that's where I draw the line when they start dehumanizing just humans. I mean, whether it's undocumented workers or immigrants or, the trans population, non-binary, anything that's different from them that they just can't handle. That's too, and it's all rooted in fear and their own. It says more about them than anything else. But at the same time, I'd want to distance. Yeah, I can't. I feel like I've defriended or unfriended, whatever, all the people in my life that I felt like could even be in that group.
One of the slogans that I've seen, like on a T-shirt or somebody's placard at a protest rally, I don't know how to convince you to care about other people. That's what it seems to be.
Yeah.
In summary.
Yeah.
What is that Melania jacket? I don't care Do you? Or what did she? What it was that dumb freaking jacket? You know what I mean?
No.
It's that whole like I don't care. You know, if it doesn't. I mean, and that's also a big problem with the right is if it doesn't affect them, they do not care. And that is, you know, and that's why even like right now, what we're having, you know, with a bunch of, especially white women kind of waking up, seeing Renee Good getting murdered and being like, oh my God, we're living in a fascist state. It's like, well, welcome to the way the U.S. has been for Black and brown communities since the U.S. was the U.S. And before that, when they showed up and killed the indigenous, like it's racial fascism has been around for centuries. And it's just like now white people are kind of catching on like, oh, the police sometimes kill people. It's like, yeah, they've been doing this for a long time. And, you know,
Exactly.
welcome to the club, sweetheart. It sucks.
Now the difference is that the president said that without free speech, we are not a free country. And then he said, and I've taken away free speech. So we can no longer burn a flag, or he can sue whoever he wants to sue for protesting, or he can just make lists of anybody that disagrees with on whatever arbitrary criteria. Target.
Right.
He can arrest, no longer have freedom of the press.
Oh, you're cutting out there,
right?
Aron.
He's also got a public protest of certain, if you're protesting like the, I'm sorry?
You're cutting out there, Aron.
Is that chopping out?
You're cutting in and out.
You're kind of cut off crazy.
Okay. All right. Well, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I
guess not.
I can hear you.
All right. Well, Seth, we've got a couple of callers. We've got a couple of lined up, and one of them purports to be it. So have we answered or addressed your situation? I think I have as well as I can.
As best we can. I will just say that I absolutely have a plan of a way to stand up for what I think, and I think I can better tackle and not completely lose my temper, because I have a bad habit of that. To throw their arguments back in their face and go, no, you're not. That's not okay to say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Then, all right, we'll go ahead
good
and let
luck,
you go,
Seth.
and we'll move on. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you kindly. All right. Now, I suppose I should go over the upcoming schedule before we take this next call. Tonight, of course, me and Natalia. Then tomorrow is Chewed Gum with Elisa Liub and Promise. And then on Wednesday will be the Hang Up with Matt Dillahunty and Justin DZ. Followed by, on Thursday, the Transatlantic Call-In Show, which is at 2 p.m. Central Time. All the rest of these are at 6. And that's Luxander and Josie Caballero. And then you've got a 6 o'clock show. Don't have a guest schedule for that yet, but it's for Cus I Wanna. And I'm keen to find out what that's going to be. There is one on Saturday at 6 p.m. with John Gleason. And I'm forgetting engineer or something.
Godless engineer.
Godless engineer. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take this next call. And let's see, we should be speaking to Milo. Milo, are you there?
Hello. Yes. Hello.
How you do?
Hi.
I'm doing fine. A little tired.
Mm-hmm. So what's the topic you want to talk about?
Just briefly, I recently saw a video by yours called 3 Evidences That Prove God.
Yeah.
And you made the claim, and I'm paraphrasing, that the plural evidences is not a word, and it actually is.
Well, the word evidences is actually a verb.
Yeah.
It's an uncountable word. It doesn't have a plural form.
It does. From the Oxford English Dictionary, it in specialized academic or legal context to mean types of evidence. And the example they give is the archaeologists uncovered several evidences of early human habitation, and in parentheses they say meaning different types of different types or clues. And so
It
there
reminds me of the
actually is,
fish versus fishes argument.
Yeah, that's exactly
so-
what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the problems is
Yeah,
that dictionaries define how words are used, right? And so that's why the word literally no longer means literally. It literally means anything but literally now.
well, it
So
has, still has the old meaning as well.
the dictionary reflects that. So
Right.
evidences is a verb, but it is an uncountable word. So it should be like what she just brought up with fish or fishes, or as I brought up with furniture and furnitures.
Right. And so I don't know
But the thing that I was commenting on,
whether they meant they had different lines or not, but since 1439, the word in plural has meant not pieces of evidence, but rather if there's multiple lines, then it's evidences.
okay. And
It's
again,
a minor
that's because
detail.
of, and that's because of how the public uses it. When I looked up and I showed the reference in the video, when I Google it, I show that it's a non-countable term.
Okay. Yeah. I saw AI generated stuff. I went to the
Yep.
Oxford English Dictionary.
Yeah.
And
So
I'm not
if
sure
you
why
sort
use
through, you're going
AI
to find
for
one
your-
that supports you.
Well,
So if you're a
generally
theist, and we're all keen, just since we're unbelievers here, and you are a
Right.
believer, so
Yes.
you come. We're eager to talk to you, but is really that going to be the topic?
Well, we could go to. I'm taking you don't want that as the topic.
Well, it's just there's so much deeper we could go. We're going to ignore the much more important question.
Okay, then let me bring up one other thing from an older video from October. You asked if anybody had any examples of Trump doing something positive.
Okay, that didn't benefit himself first and foremost.
Okay.
And there's the trick, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's a brain buster.
All right. So one of the things I'd bring up is that although he said some bad stuff about it, even though he approved it, he was the guy who approved Operation Warp Speed. The development of the COVID vaccine. I'd call that good, and I don't know what it does for him.
Well, he was the first one to get those injections.
Yeah, it was to protect him. Yeah. For a man that doesn't seem to support science, he sure does, jump the line.
As soon as that became available, they used it on him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Herman Cain, not so much.
Yeah, Herman Cain didn't quite get there. He didn't.
Yeah. He didn't.
Right.
And I had COVID myself, but fortunately, we had that same option, that Trump rushed through. And the surprising thing is that it's the Trump supporters who hate that so much. It's weird, this quandary, how they praise him, but hate the one good thing that you would point to that he did. That's the thing they hate most of all.
And another example I'd come up with is the First Step Act, which I don't think went as far as it did, but it was criminal justice reform that helped a whole bunch of people get out of prison earlier.
Not familiar with that one. But it does seem like a contradiction, since he's throwing people in prison en masse and even setting up for-profit prisons in new places, building new prisons to house more people, and shipping them off to foreign prisons as well without due process. Tell me, does it matter to you that we are no longer a free country? Is that a big deal?
I don't believe that we ever were a free country.
Wow. So we didn't used to have the legal right to criticize our government without fear of arrest?
John Adams had a law that had anybody who criticized them, well, not anybody, but the law, it made it illegal to criticize the president.
Okay.
Question,
And was that enacted at any point in our lifetimes?
No.
Okay, so that was no longer in effect. So during
Okay.
our lifetimes, up until this.
Yeah, I think that the idea that Americans are free is mostly illusionary.
Milo, would you like Americans to be free?
I'd like everybody in the world to be free.
Okay. So do you agree with what Trump is doing right now, or do you find yourself dissenting constantly?
I strongly disagree with almost everything that Trump has ever done.
Okay. Except for Operation Warp Speed.
But, well, actually, I've got a list of 6 things, but Aron Ra had said, can anybody come up with something that, and I'm apparently incorrectly quoted him, but anything that Trump did that was positive, and it made me go, look, was there anything that he did positive? And I found actually 7 different things. And so I'm not saying he's a good person. I think he's a horrible person, but even horrible people can do something good.
But again, what his caveat was, is it something that benefits him first and foremost? Because we know that that's generally how that man operates, and how he's also lined his pockets since becoming president yet again. That's everything. Every decision has served that purpose, whether it's destroying a wing of the White House to build his own, and laundering all sorts of money that's going to only benefit him. Or, helping fund private prisons that are opening up. Aron, we don't hear you. Aron, you might be muted.
So I'd give another example that I don't know how it affects him is he did reschedule cannabis.
That also might have benefited him too, but I don't know how much he's smoking weed.
Yeah,
but he also,
I
think if he really wanted to do a positive there, anybody who would have minor weed offenses would be out of jail right now.
Yeah,
100%.
So they changed the scheduling on marijuana so that it is still illegal, and things that we used to be able to get legally, we no longer can. And so that's a difficulty. And if you want to win the war on drugs, pretty much, if you want to get anything better, you almost have to do whatever is the opposite of what the Republicans are doing.
Legalize it.
If you want to win the war on drugs, give up, lose, decriminalize. Decriminalize drugs. Have the government attach revenue to them, and regulations, restrictions, and so forth, so that you can have licensed growers, and then they have to go up to certain restrictions or regulations or whatever, so that the money you pay for your weed is matched in quality. They have a guarantee of quality, right? And so how would you have? I mean, every state that's done this, every state that has decriminalized drugs, has reaped in massive revenue. So it's been to the benefit of everybody. But if every state did it, you couldn't have Mexican drug cartels operating in this country anymore, could you? Who's going to deal with a criminal organization and all that comes attached to that if they have the option of going into the local drugstore and complaining or even suing if they don't get the quality they paid for?
Okay, so I'm pro cannabis. I'm pro hemp. I worked with Jack Herer in getting the California medical marijuana law passed. I gathered huge number of signatures to get it on the ballot. In terms of the rescheduling, I don't think that Trump went far enough, but he took it off from being scheduled as there is no known use for it to now that there are uses, medical uses for it, and that research into the medical uses is now legal. And yes, it's not far enough, but it is a step in the right direction.
So the very best we can do, we can find a bunch of laws that Trump passed that hurt the country a lot. And we can find a bunch of laws that he passed that only benefit him and the rest of the billionaires, or only him personally, or people in his family, because he made over $1 billion illegally as president this time around, just in the first year.
Yep.
While raising our deficit and our debt higher than any other previous president, period, ever. And the best we can do is find where he was forced by a global pandemic to pass something he didn't want to pass. And that's the best we can say about him. And we have to do that while not saying anything else he did, which is all bad.
I
all
agree
of us
that
now,
almost everything that he did is bad.
Yeah, all of us have to work longer, harder, and faster but we're earning less and paying more.
Right.
He's cut the whole population off at the knees, and this is a very strategic and very smart move. When people are working 5 jobs, don't have means to feed their family, they don't have health care, can't afford education, paying back loans, getting sick, don't have access to the meds they need. You can't fight in the streets. It's really hard until they get to the point where they have nothing to lose, and then it gets real fun. But it's been, and this is the thing that's very frustrating for folks that have been loud about this since 2015. I remember walking into my grandpa's, going to visit my grandpa, seeing that he was watching the Republican debate, and I said, "Oh, Grandpa, I didn't know you wanted to watch a comedy." And when I saw him defend vehemently Trump, that's when I knew we were in so much trouble. And people have been screaming it from the rooftop since he was elected that we are walking into fascism fast. When people say it's happened overnight, it hasn't been happening overnight. It's been eroded and eroded and eroded, and distraction after distraction. It's nothing that we haven't seen coming. It's just people are now waking up to it, and I not fast enough.
Yeah, no, I don't know that I would agree that the United States was never a great country, or it was never, I was always told, America's the best damn country there is. My father told me this, America's the best damn country there is, and I don't need to know about nowhere else.
If you're white and a man.
Well, and if you don't know about anywhere else.
And straight.
But I've been to, I haven't been to South America, but I've been all over the world, right? And I've seen where everywhere I go, they do something better than we do. And I get frustrated as an American. I want to be proud to be an American, but why don't we do the best at everything? Why are we importing Swiss watches and German chocolate or whatever? Why can't we just make the best shit everywhere? Because we're America, damn it. No, we don't. We're no longer producers. We're consumers, and everything that once could have made us great has been disrupted completely, so that America will never be great now.
But I also want to just challenge that idea that why can't we make everything? I feel like that. I feel like it's nice to have things from different places. It's okay if we are not the best at everything. Why can't we used to be the best at making cars, and we're not so much at that anymore. Japan's got us beat. I'll tell you that much. I am a proud Toyota Corolla
why
owner.
Is that? This is our fault.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's our fault for sure. But I do think that, it's kind of nice to have a melting pot of people, but also things in the world that, we don't have to be the best at everything. And I think that also speaks to American exceptionalism, right? Like we people that don't, I dated somebody for years who lied about his age for a long time. So I didn't even know how old he was when we broke up, but he was 40. And when we broke up, he proudly had never left the country ever. And he told me that only, nobody leaves the country. Why would you leave the country? Normal people don't leave the country. And it's like, no, normal people, if you don't have the means, I understand. But if you have the opportunity to study abroad or to volunteer somewhere or to try to leave the country to see different cultures, it's a great opportunity if you can. And I understand a lot of people don't have the means, but, this sort of America's the best. America's got, it's this sort of xenophobia that is bred since we were young, that this is the way it is. This also is look at gun control, the countries throughout the world that have mass shootings. Look at Australia. They're let's turn in all our guns after the 1997 mass shooting they had there. Let's just turn them all in. And they were cool. But here in America, we're nah, we keep our guns, Second Amendment, unless it's a
the big
protester,
issue that I
Alex
see,
Preddy. Yeah.
we're all interested in, as a people, we seem to be interested in jingoism. They're all that we buy into slogans. We don't talk about policy. We talk about labels. We talk about tribalism, but not the actual issues.
Mm-hmm.
If we could just focus on the issues and there was no label attached to it, I'm sure a lot more people would agree with me. On the policy things that I want, they don't understand these are left things, that we're advocating for. And did you know? Here's a fun one, because everybody seems to think that Obama was a socialist and that Biden was a radical leftist, and neither one of them were. They were both moderate right wingers. In fact, in my lifetime, and I'm in my 60s now, in my lifetime, the most left-leaning president of my life was Richard Nixon, a Republican. He is the one that passed the most. He's the one that passed the most left-leaning policies.
Yes, I would tend to agree with you in part.
And these are all things that benefit the real people, not benefiting only the billionaire class.
Okay, so I want to, you were talking about jingoism and seeing people elsewhere in the world. So during the Vietnam War, I was in the U.S. Army. I was a conscientious objector, so I was continually assigned to non-combat jobs. And while I was in Germany, for bizarre reasons that we don't need to go in now, I ended up in conversations and meals with several different terrorist groups in some different nations. And when we were just there, person to person, they hated America. They wanted to kill all Americans, but we could have conversations and I could understand why they were angry at America. And we could have meals together and we could talk as human beings with each other. And I knew that they were terrorists. I knew that they had actively participated in killing a number of Americans, especially soldiers. But when we were talking and eating together, because we had to meet, they struck me as very much ordinary human beings with actually good hearts, despite the fact that they were very, very violent. And from my experience, a lot of the people in the world are very good-hearted people, and I think that their anger against America is, for the most part, very valid. We do horrible things. We bomb entire villages. We use chemical weapons, not so much anymore. We firebomb villages. We go in and destroy all kinds of things. That we do a lot of bad all over the world, and I think that a lot of the anger at the world is not just at Trump. It's that what our country's been doing from before I was born.
All right, so I don't know where we can go with this. I do want to say that rounding back, we're circling back. When I look at Quora, when I look at a couple of different definitions that we were doing, I don't see a plural definition of evidence. I did see in something in Quora where it says evidence is neither fully singular nor plural. It is uncountable. While people do use it in the plural form, sometimes it is generally not. Correct English would not be, but that's why I said it was such a strange thing that believers so often use the evidences where the science-minded people typically do not. That was what I'm pointing out there. As far as anything else, I don't know what if you had a topic that was relevant to you being a believer and us being an unbeliever, we'd be happy to discuss that. Otherwise, I don't want to know where else we can go here.
Okay, you have a very good day.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so we are now going to talk to Mika. If I can get this thing to respond. Mika, calling from Germany. How you do?
Hello.
Good. How are you all doing?
It's all right. What can we talk about?
So, I think the show's best when you guys talk, the host. So I was thinking of trying to get my point across. Because like philosophy, in my mind, is the art of metacognition. So when there's a good point that you guys can talk about, I'm trying to make sense. So what principles do you think should be applied to the daily life when neglecting religion? Like when there's no religion and like we have different points and we try to like, I like the categorical imperative, but there's other points as well. But what is it about religion that people want or expect a reward for being a good person? Because I think when you do that, you're not a good person, you're a dog waiting for a treat. What exactly is it that would make life better? What principles do you apply to your lives?
That's a really, I like that question. I like that point because I've had to have that conversation with multiple people that are religious that said, how do you know how to be a good person without religion teaching you how to be a good person? And I thought, because I think at the core of it, humans and animals are altruistic to a point, to an extent. And I think we have that ability to care about others that are not kin, that are not related to us, that will put ourselves on the line to take care of them at our own peril. Right. And so I think without having that sort of reward system, like if I think about your needs, I might possibly go to heaven, which is really funny only because in the United States right now, that's not how it's working whatsoever. Thinking about the needs of others will, get you arrested or killed by ICE. That's what we're dealing with right now. And I know that you're from Germany and you know your own history. We're kind of looking at dead in the eyes right now.
Yeah.
So I think
just 100 years back.
Yeah. And it's not that long ago
about the situation. Yeah, that's why I'm so worried about the USA right now. Like I'm well informed about the situation. I have friends in the USA and it's like really worrying to me. So
yeah,
thank
like,
you.
What's worrying to me,
we're worried too.
I mean, you can see it. You're in Germany. You have some idea, but here in the US, nobody does. That's the sad thing.
I think enough people do, but I don't know if we know how to do anything about it. Because I being on social media, being out and about, being at protests, I think a lot of people know what the heck's going on. But it's how we always say hindsight's 2020. Like, why didn't people do things in 1920s, 1930s Germany? And it's like, well, people are out on the streets. People are fighting. I have friends in Minneapolis that are not just doing protests, but they're actually, a friend of mine, shout out to Michael Wilson, also a primatologist, works with chimpanzees. He and his wife have been, they were camping outside the hotel where ICE is staying, singing songs, trying to implore them to leave this line of profession because they are being bad people, like actually trying to reach them get their heart, pull their heartstrings and get them to change their mind, and try to come at them with love, which I think is incredibly patient. And then here in Los Angeles, I've been involved in some clashes that were far more visceral, and there's tear gas being thrown. So I think there are a lot of people who are aware of the history. Not enough, Aron. I think I will not say that everybody is. And this is why when I was teaching biological anthropology, I remember reading a statistic that I can't even remember exactly how many what the percentage was, but there was a percentage of students that did not know about the Holocaust, like really actually knew about it, or those people that didn't believe it happened, So what I would do when I would teach about the American eugenics movement, I made sure my introduction to biological anthropology classes, have you heard about the Holocaust? We are going to talk about it, because when you forget your history, it repeats itself.
And the sad thing is that everybody, when they think about the Holocaust, they think about 1940 to 1945.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. They need to be looking at 1930 and the events leading up to 1930. If you want to know where America is now, look at Germany 1920 to 1930. Study that little bit of history.
I would say it's even further along at this point, Aron. I mean, that's the thing that I think is really with actual camps being, detention centers, warehouses being bought, alligator Alcatraz, people being deported, U.S. citizens being picked up, and being disappeared for a few days, citizens. And yeah, but I think principles like you mentioned, especially when you said if you don't have religion, I mean, the golden rule is one of those things where, you know, you see it across many cultures, you know, this idea of do unto others as you'd have done unto you and yourself.
Let's talk about that for a moment. The golden rule is one that was always brought up to me by Christians. You know, people that raised me wanted to raise me with the golden rule, which they thought Jesus taught the golden rule. There isn't a culture that didn't teach that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's because that's where the core of our morality comes from. I believe that morality is objective. I think we all understand that we don't just walk up to the bus stop and kick the little old lady off the bus stop and steal her purse. Everybody understands that is immoral. Now, people will find justifications when they're going to do something immoral anyway, and they will find some way to blame the little old lady that she deserved it because of her ethnicity or her religion or whatever. They will find bullshit excuses for that, but we all know what is moral and immoral based on whether we're causing the unnecessary harm or suffering of someone else. That's simple. And we all understand it. And as a means of population mechanics, we understand that if you stand by your word and you're somebody that we can be relied upon, and you have empathy for other people and you help other people, you are going to be beloved by your tribe or village or whatever. You will be offered money and food and daughters to marry and all of that kind of shit. And that is the kind of thing that is going to proliferate. Whereas somebody with underdeveloped prefrontal lobes or dysfunctional mirror neurons or whatever, somebody who only has apathy and selfishness, those people are going to be estranged from the community. They're either by being banished, imprisoned, or killed. So this is how morality emerges in a social species.
And it's like that in many other species.
If anything, teaches against that, where we're supposed to murder anybody who doesn't believe on the word of 2 or 3 witnesses.
And I think that's why the right wants what's best for themselves, while the left wants what's best for everyone. So there's also the Dunbar's number, which describes that like 150 is the maximum number of stable relationships and stuff that you can have. So like when you're on the left, it's more likely for you to know more people, especially like Aron, you talked about being around the world. So you know the struggles and what's better about other parts of the world more than people on the right, which only want what's best for themselves. So they can't even comprehend this discrepancy in that we experience.
I often see people when they have a change of heart where they have no empathy on a particular issue until they hate gays until their son turns out to be gay, or they're completely against abortion until their mistress ends up pregnant, that sort of thing, where they don't care until they have to. And that is a right-wing or conservative position, whereas I know I'm conflating, the left and humanists and that sort of thing, but from my perspective, I have a degree of compassion for other people for problems they have that I don't even know what it's like to have those problems. I'm a cisgendered heterosexual male who's completely happy with my skin and my identity, right? And I always have been. I feel for people who can't be as comfortable with who they see in the mirror as I always have been. But just because I don't share the same experience doesn't mean that I can't empathize that somebody else has this issue, or I can't understand that they would.
Yeah. Like this compassionate behavior and more empathetic behavior, like this is more on the left, and I don't understand why that is. Like, why are people on the right, why do they see empathy as a weakness? I don't understand that, and I will never will. Like, it's baffling.
And I have to clarify something for some of the Christian critics, the creationists that I get that like to make fun of my appearance. When I'm saying that I look in the mirror and I'm always happy with who it is, it hasn't always been like this. Okay.
No.
But I like the beard. You look rad. You look.
I love
rad.
it. What are you talking about?
I don't get it. Yeah, for real.
I was much more of a pretty boy once upon a time.
No, but I will say that, again, I mentioned this, animals have altruism and we see it in chimpanzees and bonobos. We see freeloaders are not tolerated. There has been reports of, bonobo females will gang up and attack males that attack females. They'll keep them in line. Yeah. There is even there's usually no murder in bonobos, but a group of females murdered a male not that long ago because he was brutalizing an infant, and this is very, 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 very rare to see this in the species. But like, point being, I think altruism and looking out for one another is not a uniquely human trait. I think I always joke that, I'll do a lot of shows about human behavior, and we always say, oh, we'll look at animal behavior and be like, oh my God, they're just like us. And it's like, no. They've been doing this behavior for millions of years. We're just like them, although sometimes we're worse because we actually carry out genocide.
I've seen so many incidences of animals protecting another of a different species.
Yep.
Where a bear or a hippopotamus or whatever will get
orcas, and whales will protect seals from orcas, and
exactly.
Yeah, whales have protected them. Yeah.
And I'm sitting in a house. I've got cats. I've got dogs. I've got a handful of dogs. I've got 50 some odd snakes in my house. I'm in a house full of super predators, but quite a lot of them. Not all of them, but the ones that I get to spend a lot of time with. There are some that show me genuine affection.
Yeah.
And I quite like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's been an experiment with birds where they've introduced currency in the form of food to birds and to monkeys. And it has been shown that the birds were more altruistic than the monkeys, and they've shared their food when they got it with their bird friends. And the monkeys did not. Instead they exchanged it for certain services and stuff, while the birds were more altruistic, which I think is quite comedic.
Certain services?
Yes.
I'm sorry, my brain just went completely wrong.
Chimpanzees especially, they'll give pieces of ripe fruit to females with sexual swellings in exchange for a little nookie. I'm not surprised. I mean, the corvids are really smart, and different birds can be very, even like chimpanzee males, like when they'll hunt they love to, I always call red colobus monkeys chimp bait because they love to eat red colobus monkeys. And a group of males will hunt a red colobus monkey and kill it, and then oftentimes share the meat, like they actually will share with one another. Not always, but this does happen. And so I think that goodness is in us. And I remember having like fights about this with a woman years ago who was very religious, and she was like, how do you know how to be moral without God? And I was like, because it's, I think, deeply ingrained in me to know that I don't want to hit somebody and hurt somebody. Like, I don't, it's not in there. And I think that we need to remember our humanity. And somebody in the chat actually mentioned capitalism. And I was like, yeah, that's the thing is, when we're tricked into, this is the thing is like in the United States, and I think in probably Germany too, it's the greatest con of history, fooling people into thinking it is a race or other war versus a class war. Thinking that there isn't enough, making you think that there's not, like this Malthusian idea of there's not enough for everybody, so you need to fight and scapegoat and make sure that type of person doesn't get what should be coming to you, and fooling a lot of the American public that they have more in common with a Jeff Bezos or a Zaslav or a Musk than an undocumented immigrant from Nicaragua, right? When they make about the same amount of money, they have the same amount of kids doing the same amount of homework, all that kind of stuff, same struggles. They somehow think that they're the bad guy, and that, Musk would love to have a beer with them, and, they want to uphold, their, and they also think that there's like, you might have heard of white adjacency. It's almost like billionaire adjacency, where they think they could possibly become one. And it's like, it's not happening. It's not happening. And pick me. Maybe, Joe Rogan will have sex with me or something. So, and that's also another one, seeing the Joe Rogans and the Theo Vaughns and the Andrew Schultzes, like these comedians that act like journalists who helped get Trump elected. Now, all of a sudden saying, well, we didn't think he would create a Gestapo, when he literally And I'm using literally in this term. That was the platform he ran. He ran on that platform. Build the wall, deport them all. Like he ran on that platform. So that is, again, and some would say we should just be happy to see these dumbasses finally figuring it out. But it's way too late. And isn't it convenient now that you are realizing the error of your ways and that, I don't know. Sorry.
And
all right. Well, Mika
don't understand why. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like, why is religion primarily on the right? Why do they see it as they're like? Why is it on the right all the time?
Authoritarianism.
Rules.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I think
because there's a degree of ancestor worship and authority worship,
and women. Women don't have the power. Yeah. No women.
You have no rights. Don't vote.
No.
And you lay out the rules, and you want to do forced conformity so that everybody has to follow your rules. Whereas it's funny that most people on the right think that they're all about liberty. They're so not.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were about liberty, you'd be on the left.
Thinks they're doing something evil. They all think they're doing the right thing, which is why they're supported. Otherwise they wouldn't do it, right? Like every evil person, they think they're doing the right thing. And what I think is happening is like religion is such a massive psyop because what's happening is that it coerces people into just being obedient, following the elites, doing what they want because they believe in an afterlife that grants them not just eternal life, but it also grants them a form of justice, right? Everyone gets what they deserve. And this is why they follow and do everything that they do, which I think is so, it's not just self-centered, but it's like ignorant of the real world that we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got 3 other callers lined up, and have we exhausted?
Mika, you're awesome.
Let's get all the callers.
Miko, thank you very much for this call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, so we've got, it has been suggested that I should speak to an agnostic.
Okay.
So,
Hello,
Jimmy,
good evening.
In New York.
Yeah, good evening, Aron. Good evening, Aron. How you doing?
All right, it's all right.
Hello?
Yes?
Yes, I've been listening to you for a while, and you're a very, very intelligent person. I like your take on, you convinced me that there's no hell. I really listen to you a lot. But can I ask you a question, sir?
Sure.
Have you ever had a bad dream before? Have you ever had a bad dream before where you've been attacked by monsters?
Have I ever had a what before?
A bad dream, like a nightmare, a bad dream.
A bad dream.
Like you dream, like
bad dream. Oh yeah. Yes. Let me tell you about one really quick. I'm being hounded by a demon in a haunted house, and the demon possesses me. So now I have the what is it? The night paralysis thing.
Oh.
And the funny thing is that the demon is making fun of me because I don't believe in him. So I must be a complete hypocrite because I'm being overpowered by a demon. Except that this is a dream world, and this is the only place that a demon can exist. But in the dream, I don't realize it's a dream, so I did feel like a hypocrite.
Oh, that's interesting. And the sleep paralysis is terrifying.
Aron, on a serious note, why is it that when I'm talked by monsters in my dream and I call out the name of Jesus, they disappear, they leave me alone?
Oh.
Okay.
Why? What does that happen though? I'm being very sincere with you. Like
I never used the Jesus thing. What always worked for me was when I'm being attacked by something is sometimes I can fly away, and sometimes if I'm really enjoying life at that point of my life, then I can just open up my hands and shoot photon torpedoes out of the palms.
Are you being serious, sir? Because I'm being very legit. I'm being very, very serious with you because this didn't happen to me a few days ago. Well, what does dreams are not reality? Where do they come from? How did they just come up randomly? So where does this imagination just come from? Where does it come from?
I wish I could remember this. I read this wonderful thing. There was a psychiatrist that was talking about what dreams are doing when the brain just goes on autopilot and it starts like spitting out random gibberish because of of how the way it's reconfiguring it and breaking down and building new synapses or whatever that it's doing. But I noticed while I don't think dreams necessarily have meaning at all, I have noticed that in my youth, in my teen years, I remember that when I just had a great time, I had no responsibilities, and all I had to do was go out and party and have a great time every day. Those parts of my life, in my dreams, I had superpowers and all of that, and I could fly and do all of this other stuff. But in moments of my life where I'm at the mercy of other situations, where I'm struggling, well, I can't fly then. And then I find that I'm surrounded by tornadoes. So when I'm facing a great deal of chaos and my circumstances are uncertain, then I have to worry about tornadoes coming and fucking everything up. That's about the only meaning that I've ever been able to understand for dreams.
So okay, but I'm like, sir, like, okay, could dreams be a world that can happen to us after we die? Could it be a glimpse into the afterlife dreams? Could that be a glimpse into where the experience? So that means when we die, the mind.
We can't have an afterlife because we don't have souls.
So that means what's going on in the dream is just it's just our imagination. That's all. Hello, sir.
An interesting thing, if I could just throw in one other thing about my own personal anecdotal dreams, is that in the last 10 years, I've had a handful of dreams where I'm not me.
Who are you?
I was once I wish I could remember the movie that this girl was in, but I was kind of like a trans kid. And I only knew that because at one point in the dream, I look in the mirror, and I can remember that there was a movie where there was a girl that looked exactly like this. But I mean, that was so. I was in one dream I was this trans kid, in another dream I was a middle-aged Indian man.
Okay.
With a bindi and everything. Yeah, but I mean, sometimes I dream that I'm somebody else completely.
Okay.
I have recurring nightmares.
Okay, sure. So what you say is not sure that when these things happen, they have no bearing on reality at all. There's no connection with reality.
Well, there's no bearing. Not that there's no bearing. As I mentioned, when I was completely irresponsible and all my bills are being paid, and I've got a car that I can use, and I just grab money from my parents and go out and party with whoever. I'm a young, good-looking guy, and in a world full of young, good-looking women, and I got a car and some money. Hey, let's have a great time. In those periods of my life, my dreams were all smashing. I mean, I can do anything. But then when I do have responsibilities and I'm not meeting them, when I'm not able to, when I've got struggles and adversity that I have to put up with and major issues in my life, I don't have magic powers. I can't fly anymore. There's very different types of dreams. So it does depend on where your life is and where your psychology is. Now, why I'm dreaming lately that I am different people, I can't tell you.
Okay, so last thing before I let you go, because thank you. I really learned a lot from you, Aron. Last thing, have you ever had something strange to you that it cannot be explained? Something strange happened to you, like something bizarre? Like, has it happened to you before whereby you cannot explain it naturally? Like some strange coincidence? Hello?
I'm trying to think of something.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing is coming to mind.
Okay, I'm just curious about that, because thank you for your time, because I was just curious about where dreams come from. So I just thought you'll help me out with that. Thank you. Have a great one.
You too.
Thank you very much. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Okay, Natalia, we seem to have one other agnostic.
Okay.
Let me pull this one up. Zach, are they on? Yeah. Zach, can you hear us?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Yes.
Hi. How are you?
Hi. How are you guys?
It's all right. Doing well. What do we want to talk about today?
Your claim is that morality doesn't come from God, right?
Yeah. because it can't, because there is no God. And if there was a God, and if it's the God of the Bible and the Quran, then that God is not moral. So morality could not come from it.
But also morality doesn't exist, right?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm saying morality does not exist.
Oh, it exists, but
is that your position?
Is that? Oh.
Okay, give me the definition of morality then.
I'm sorry, is your position that morality doesn't exist?
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any kind of definition for what morality is?
Give me your definition, because I'm claiming that morality does not exist, and your claim is that morality exists. So I'm asking.
Okay, well then I'm kind of curious what your definition is, but mine is the way that we comport ourselves with other people, our conduct in a social situation. Okay. Are we selfish? Are we vindictive?
Mm-hmm.
Are we generous? Mm-hmm. Are we cohabitating productively? Because we, as humans, being a social species that we are, we depend on society, and society, this abstract concept, depends on us to cohabitate productively. And so we have to have morality, which is our conduct in a social circle, so that we can be productive without just randomly killing each other and being selfish.
Okay. Aren't these all are your preferences?
Aren't these all of my what?
Preferences.
References?
Preferences.
Preferences?
Yeah.
We don't have a choice in that. If we are a social species, we have to live in society. We have to conduct ourselves productively, or we do not live.
How are you deriving ought? How are you deriving ought? Just by claiming it?
I'm gonna have to turn my volume up. I'm not hearing this correctly.
I don't.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I have to improve my mic. Sorry for that. So that's what I'm claiming, that all these are your preferences. You want society to ought to behave in that way. Okay.
We don't have a choice.
We have a choice. People have a choice. People have choice many times in our history. Yeah, we have.
I'll let you make your argument, but yeah, we don't have a choice.
Okay. No, we have. Okay. So if a person is committing crime on a minor, does he have a choice?
Does the person have a choice to conduct the crime on a minor?
Because he's committing assault on a minor.
Is this an argument about free will or about morality? I'm a little confused.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
I'm arguing about.
Yeah. Morality has to exist in order for a society to exist.
So morality is
now, are you going to have aberrant behaviors in that society? Yes, as I already brought up before. You're going to have people who are estranged, people who have dysfunctional mirror neurons or underdeveloped prefrontal cortex, whatever, and they're going to be selfish.
Okay.
And all of it, and they're going to make excuses.
They're going to.
Yeah.
Okay. So because they are
so
born that way,
important thing there when you talk about doing the crimes against young children, are you aware of the statistics that the deeply religious molest more children?
I am not religious, bro. I am on the same page as you, but I'm just clearing that fact that you guys claim of like morality exists, and I'm claiming that morality doesn't exist. All the thing exist is your preferences. Okay.
The only thing that exists is
you use listen. You use religious principles. Okay, the same way the religion does. They make prescriptive claims, and you think that society ought to behave in that way. If they are not behaving that way, then you punish them. You are using the same religious framework which you deny always.
I would say morality has been around since religion has been around. I mean, before that, I would say it predates.
But you are enforcing your morality. Listen. You enforcing your morality, right?
So society always had to have morality to some degree in order to work together at all.
Look, if you're going to have a group bigger than five people, you're going to have cooperation, which is based in morality or some sort of idea of what is right versus wrong.
I don't want cooperation. Now you're going to put me in jail.
Wait, I'm a little confused. Are you saying, because I will say this, rules and what is considered moral there is differences culture to culture, right? Like there are certain things that are okay, and there's certain things that are not, and that is oftentimes influenced by the environment, just like we see in animals across the world. Certain behaviors are influenced by the environment, which also shapes things like culture.
We don't compare our morals to humans, right? It's a naturalistic fallacy. You know very well.
We don't compare what? Our
morals to humans. Oh, sorry, our morals to animals.
I do. I mean, I think altruism is something.
But
humans are animals
because animals commit rape also. They commit the most heinous crime you can imagine. I can give you plenty of examples.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't derive your morals from human. Don't derive your morals from animals, because you are committing naturalistic fallacy. You can justify anything.
We are animals.
Yeah, we're part of the great ape family.
Then rape is not wrong.
Cannot derive morality.
Don't put rapists in jail, bro.
Okay, we cannot derive morality from a God that doesn't exist.
No, I'm not claiming God.
And would be
listen.
And would be immoral if it did exist.
You can play your argument of God with the religious people. I'm not religious. I'm denying religion. I'm denying your popular ethics also. I'm denying your popular ethics also, bro.
So how many people have you raped today?
Doesn't matter to me. Yeah.
How many people have you raped this week?
Plenty, like 4 or 5.
You've raped 4 or 5 people this week.
Yeah. Am I wrong?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. What?
It's probably good that you're calling from India.
Who's going to decide it? Who's going to decide it? Yeah.
Who's going to decide if you raped 4 people this week?
Yeah. Who is going to decide it is wrong or right?
I think the people that you raped would decide that that was wrong. It was a violation of their rights.
I killed them all. No.
Okay. I'm dropping this call.
Okay. Yeah. Whoa.
Bye.
I'm just showing you your.
Okay.
In what world? What? I am very disturbed yet confused.
Yep. I don't believe that guy was real at all.
No, I'd like to think that was a figment of our imagination. That might have been the nightmare that we were talking about with Jimmy. That was that man. It was the nightmare. By the way, I don't know if you know this, Aron, but I've had recurring King Kong nightmares since I was 3 years old. And the very first time because I lucid dream quite a bit, the very first time I lucid dreamed was when I was 8 years old, and I shrunk King Kong down to the size of an orangutan. It's on my mug right now. And that was my very first time of lucid dreaming. But I also fly away from King Kong or I get eaten. The other thing is leaning into the monster and just letting the monster kill me so I can go into a new dream.
I was being chased by Godzilla until I couldn't escape, and then I became Godzilla.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, Graves, California atheist.
Hello.
Hi.
How do you do? You're not going to tell us that you raped and murdered anybody, are you?
Please don't tell us you raped and murdered anyone. I can't handle anymore.
I've raped and murdered everyone that I ever cared to, and that's no one.
Thank you.
Perfect.
And
I've raped as many people as I ever want. That was a Penn Jillette quote for those who do not know.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yes.
So what are we talking about today?
So it just so happens. So I just wanted to bring up the recent the Drew from Genetically Modified Skeptic video about like Christianity, especially what's the word I'm looking for? But Christianity being sort of like a psyop created by the U.S. government in modern times. So like evangelist Christianity specifically, and it was like not that Christianity was created by the U.S. government, but enforced, especially in
as a control
South America. Yes. Enforced in South America and currently more today for a more obedient culture. And I was wondering if you had any thoughts about that. Like I personally see like that being
logical, but I don't.
Well, we
I don't
have
want
a
to sound like a
situation.
conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, we have a situation where we will get people to give us all of their money and their labor on the suspicion that whatever they've done wrong, there's somebody that knows all of their secrets and could expose them in a terrible way. And the only way for them to get out of that is to do our bidding. And in so doing, they will be forced to conform to whatever we tell them. And they're going to believe whatever we tell them just because we tell them. And we've told them also that if you question it or if you doubt it, then those are damnable sins and you'll spend forever in hell just for questioning us. So believe what I say just because I say, and then do as I say and give me all your money. What a great racket that is. And submit to authority. Do not rely on your own understanding. Believe what we tell you. Do as we say. Obey. Oh, and by the way, leave me alone time with your children.
Yeah, right. Well, no, I would say that, I mean, even like when we look at in anthropology, we would look at the early beginnings of things like magic. It's a controlling mechanism. You know, if you do this, you will have this bad thing happen to you. It's a great way to keep people in line. And I mean, I was just looking at one of the comments saying that this was more about Christian missionaries trying to sway people from more progressive Catholicism, which is just really funny to call Catholicism progressive. But I guess when you're comparing it to, you know, my mom grew up Church of Christ, which is incredibly strict, you know, or some of these other evangelical churches, you know, I mean, yeah, compared to those Catholics, I mean, they're just like super, super strict. Those Catholics are crazy with their wafers and blood of Christ and all that good stuff. But yeah, it definitely is a great way to keep people in line. And also, I mean, again, you can't ignore the fact that when you have 51% of the population read women being sort of put in a subordinate position, which is much more what you see in evangelical Christians, Christianity, you're going to basically keep that 51% of the population down and keep them from actually reaching some sort of, you know, feeling like an intellectual equal or going to school or, dare I say, not having children at 16, 20 years old, right? So it's a great way to keep a population and poor, you know. Not
if the goal was to improve humanity, then one of the things we would be doing is we would be encouraging people to procreate later in life. Because if girls always waited until after 20, say 25, to have their first child, and they're doing a controlled, where not everybody's having kids, and certainly not having accidental kids and all like that. If they understand birth control and they have it available to them, and they don't have children until they're 25, those who want to have children, then in just 80 generations, I read, that you would increase human longevity. You would increase the length at which people live, because evolution only cares about what our condition when we procreate and whether we are still healthy long enough to raise those children. So the children wait till they're 25 or they wait till they're 30 and then have kids. And now you have people living longer. If we cared about improving the species as a whole, we'd be advocating for birth control and
education.
Yes.
And making it, you know, I mean, one of the saddest things I think in the United States is the fact that education is not only is it not free, it's incredibly expensive and going up every year. And guess who's not benefiting? The educators. Yay.
And certainly that has to include women having control of their own bodies.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest, you know, paths out of poverty is birth control, making sure you don't have a teen pregnancy, and access to education. That right there, you know, that will, having a kid at 16, 18 years old with no education, living on food stamps, living in a food desert, right? This is ways that you're going to, and also like we have to think about epigenetics. Look at the hunger winter in the Netherlands. You know, when you are scraping by and giving birth, there is an epigenetic imprint you're leaving on your kid. That's generational trauma that can definitely shorten lives, lead to obesity, lead to heart disease, things of that sort. So these are things that we need to consider when we're trying to create a society that is healthy, happy, and going to live a long time. But that's not what they want right now.
What the powers that be want right now is,
I hate to say it.
Yeah, they want people to be livestock.
Yeah, yes.
No, I completely agree. Like, going back to like having children at a reasonable age. Like, I'm nearly 36. My wife is nearly 33, and we decided to have a baby. 18 months ago now. So, and she's perfect and wonderful and amazing, and it was our choice to do so, and we both wanted it, and that's perfect. But like, yeah, no, keeping people from understanding that they have value, that they have the right to decide things for themselves, to question authority, all of that seems just primed for all of this. And the fact that the U.S. government, especially under Reagan, seems to have completely undermined all of the things that y'all brought up. To put it under the banner of Marxism. Oh no, that scary word. And to make sure that people weren't thinking for themselves and figuring out that that we don't deserve less than others, and that we can do better. That's problematic for the rich. It's just disgusting. The whole thing is fucking disgusting. I'm sorry. it's
yeah.
My son and I are planning on doing a talk where somebody asked me to do a chat about that it is illegal to be poor in this country, and I thought, well, this would be a great talk.
Is.
Yeah, so I'm going to have this person on.
Yeah,
we're going to do
this
show.
Go to jail for being homeless.
We're going to talk for 30, 45 minutes on how it's illegal to be poor in this country. And I remembered that my son had spoken quite eloquently on this subject a year or two ago, and so I invited him. I said, I want you to be part of this conversation because I know you've got a good deal to put in on it. And then the person we were originally scheduled with got cold feet, didn't want to put themselves out there.
Wow.
Wasn't feeling secure about that. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to force you to do anything that might put you in danger, especially when you feel like you're in a sensitive situation. So you don't have to do this. But I tell you what, I'm still going to have this conversation with my son. And if anybody else wants to be involved in that, yeah, reach out to me, because we will have to talk about how it's illegal to be poor in this country. I was very poor when I was young. I mean, there were times when I was homeless. I hitchhiked across the United States when you could still get away with that. I've
been poor for most of my life.
Yeah, quite so. But now we're in a situation where it's illegal to sleep in your car. I've lived in cars. So I think that's
and if you're not harming anyone, what's the matter?
It's completely unrealistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a time when I was doing incredible overtime at this one job, and rather than drive all the way home, which was like a 30, 40-minute drive to the house and then a 34-minute drive back to the office, I just went out to the parking lot, went to sleep for 6 hours, and got up and did another shift.
Yeah, I was working 3 jobs not that long ago, and still like barely being able to afford anything. So I'm there.
I have slept in the car. I mean, yes, it's crazy to me that that's actually illegal, because that's something that, I mean, I think a lot of people have done. I know a lot of, I'm not living in my car or anything like that, not saying that, but but there are professors out there that don't make enough money, that are homeless and are unhoused, right? There's tons of people that are experiencing this.
Tragic.
Oh, I stopped teaching because of that. problem first and foremost, which is sad because I absolutely love my students, but I couldn't afford to survive, and that it broke my heart. But I mean, I go on road trips all the time, and I'll sleep in the car, or like I've done lots of road trips where I can't afford a hotel. I remember, like going into a hotel, just saying how much I did a road trip through Scotland when I was very young, and I remember asking how much it was, and it was 175, and I was like, "Can I just sleep in your parking lot?" And they were like, "Sure." But, to think that's illegal is insane. And to make, it just says so much about our country. It says so much about our country that you damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I was in Kansas City, I think it was, and they were, it's very, very cold there. Yeah. I mean, it gets like, 30, 40 degrees below zero, even in the city. And so it's ridiculous. So there were places where there were little alcoves between the buildings where if you tried to, you could get yourself out of the wind and like cover up with something, a sleeping bag or whatever. But they built cones into the concrete, so that there's these cones so that nobody can lay there. We will go to that effort. We will spend that much money to stop someone from being able to sleep comfortably rather than,
oh my God,
allow a fucking tent city.
Problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not allow? Yeah. If you want to, because there could be crime. Okay, fine. Station a cop. You would put a cop out at a convenience store, right? Set up a little, allow a tent city, allow a cop to just sit there and make sure that nobody hurts anybody else inside that tent city, and let him fucking be. Right?
Yeah, at least care about their well-being.
Yes.
That would be nice. I want to give
this economy.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I want to give a shout out to, actually, I just did a lecture series on a cruise, and two of the guests, their daughter lives in Australia, and actually wrote a letter to the government or their local government to petition getting those little spikes taken off of areas so people couldn't sleep, because she was saying how inhumane it was. And she's not, I don't even think she's shout out to Mark and Emma. They were amazing. I don't think their daughters even graduated high school, but even out of the mouths of babes, we've got kids saying like, how is it illegal to just try to exist in a world that is completely inhospitable to being poor? And I mean, what should be the crime is not paying people enough to have have a living wage or be able to survive. I mean, I've talked to the same cruise. There was a woman from Denmark who I had a long conversation about the fact that waiters and receptionists and people that had what could be called menial jobs in Denmark got paid, I can't remember exactly what it was, but something like $40 or $50 equivalent, so they could actually survive. They might not be rolling in dough because taxes are quite high in Denmark, but they could survive. They could live. They lived with dignity. It wasn't this sort of scraping and working 5 jobs to maybe be able to live in a apartment with 6 roommates. That's the kind of existence we're expected to live, being told we can have a piece of broccoli, a piece of chicken, a tortilla, and that should be a meal according to our current administration. And back to Reagan, I always say no relation, but he defunded higher education. He defunded higher education as soon as he became governor of California. In-state tuition in California, the UC system used to be free until Ronnie decided, yeah, that must be Marxism, so let's get rid of it. And he did. And, and now it's $40,000 to $50,000 a year.
I like to bring up how Ronald Reagan was also responsible for the only assault weapons ban that I'm aware of. And it was done by Ronald Reagan, 1967, because he looked out the window and saw black people with AR-15s.
Yeah, well, that's the only time it really matters, right?
Right. God, I
hate that at this point in time that giving a damn about people and wanting everyone to be at least, the word you used, Natalia, was dignified, is considered radical.
Right.
And it's absurd.
Like healthcare for all, that's somehow this weird lefty idea that, you could die or be treated in a hospital without going bankrupt, that's considered, I mean, it's wild to me. Like I've done a couple of these cruises as somebody, by the way, like, where I'm just scraping by, right? Because these things don't pay all that much, and I'm with people who live in all these countries that have national health care, a lot of British folks that are like, it's not the best, but at least, you're not going to go bankrupt or die. You can go to a hospital.
And at least those taxes are going to something that's valuable to normal citizens.
Rather than ICE.
Yeah. So
that could arrest us just because we care about people that don't want to go to a country they've never been to before.
And if you care about people, particularly if you care about other demographics who face more adversity than a cisgendered white heterosexual male with money would face, because any other demographic is going to face a little bit more. And if you're several of those demographics together, then you've got that much more that you have to deal with. But if I am aware that you have these other issues and I don't want to contribute to your problem, they call that, well, there's a word for it. And it's apparently they say it's the worst you can be. It's woke.
So,
oh no.
Yeah, John Fugelsang. If you're familiar with John Fugelsang, I used to do a segment on a show called Shit You Can't Say about words and phrases with problematic origins, or that words that have been misappropriated by different sides of the aisle. And woke was one of them. Woke was created by Black folk that were trying to stay woke to racial injustice, in the 1920s and 30s, and then it got hijacked and misappropriated and
now it means nothing.
By the right. Yeah, well, it basically means having empathy, but like when it was first created, it was again a term that meant stay woke against racial injustice. But we, white folks had to come in and just do like, okay, well, let's make it a bad thing about being too PC, too empathetic, And then I've heard Dems use it.
Compassion is bad.
Yeah, exactly. You can't be like that, Aron. Stop being so
it doesn't
nice.
Make money.
Right.
In that sense, I don't identify as a socialist, and the reason that I don't is because I've taken a battery of political quizzes that put me as a social democrat, not as a democratic socialist. But on that one thing, I feel socialist on the respect that I care about the people, and not so much the corporations. I don't give a fuck about the corporations at all.
That's important.
Yeah, I only care about the people. And so I want...
I would definitely consider myself a socialist, but...
but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't. It's just I care more about... I prioritize human rights over corporate profits. And that's what puts me on the left.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway... I've got one more caller. Have we?
I like you, Graves. You're awesome.
Yes.
You guys are awesome.
I don't want
too.
This other person has been holding forever, so I'm going to be really nice to them.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say two quick things.
Yes.
The only other time I've ever called is with you guys, and it just so happens that you guys were on again while I was calling, so that's just fun. And secondly, Aron, you're still a pretty man. I don't want to say that.
He really is. He's bashful, but I can tell.
Stop.
Yeah, no, you haven't lost it, my guy.
Still got it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. And I've got tip of the hat to you. We're going to move over to that other call. Thank you very much, Graves.
All right. Have a great one.
You too.
Okay, and so we are moving to one more atheist. This is one in El Salvador, and we're speaking with Josh.
Hey, hello.
Hey.
I'm a little nervous. Nice, good evening. I hope you have a great evening. It's always so nice here to line. I love the show.
Thank you very much.
Background. I'm an atheist from about 5 years. Actually, Aron, you are the one that definitely made my faith atheist. I was more like kind of religious. I was Catholic because I'm from Latin America. So thank you very much. You opened my eyes a lot. Like 5, 6 years ago, your videos are awesome. So it's great honor to talk to you. So it's very difficult, my colleagues, because it's very difficult to have like I was how to put it is it was kind of difficult to become an atheist because I have good relationship or I have still good esteem with some religious people, especially the one that educated me. I was educated by Jesuits, so they are very socialist. And even if I'm an atheist, I love to bring the kingdom of heaven, bring a kingdom here, not in the heaven, not literally in the heaven, but bring a justice place, bring justice um, and everything. And it's very difficult in El Salvador being atheist because we are like 3% of all the population, and we are a third country, a poor country, then pretty much everything is based on faith in have a better tomorrow. So everyone is trying to have faith in God. The one that have money or more power generally trying to keep it, and more people are really people just desperate and they feel relief in the scripture, in God, and have faith. So it's very difficult to like talk about my things that I like about religion, to think outside the box, to think outside of Christianity. I'm happy to know that I'm not a Christian. I have read the Bible and definitely is not something that can be helpful, but at the same time, I cannot deny that it gives so much hope to my fellow Salvadorians. And we have example of extraordinary people that was religious that literally give their lives to say the truth, to try to help the poor and denounce injustice. So it's very difficult for me, like even talk aloud about things like, oh, the Bible can be mistaken, the Bible is not completely historical, because literally when I'm talking about that, people tell me, lower your voice, please. You are gonna to hurt the feeling of other people. I doesn't know what exactly I can do because in the same time, I'm sure that Christianity can be damaged to mental health, to can be damaged to mental health. I really think that you can have a better life not being a Christian or open your mind and knowing that not everything in the Bible is correct or not everything that the priest says it is the correct answer to your life. Because here, a lot of people literally just go to talk to the priest to ask him what I have to do in life. That is just crazy. But it is what it is. But I kind of want to begin to talk, but in the same time, I know the desperation of people. And the Bible literally is a book of desperation of people that were always desperate, always not always. Sometimes they have power, and that is when they have war and all that. But a lot of people also read the Bible, especially in El Salvador, for the desperation of having hope to a better life. So I doesn't know you have something to think about that, how to deal with that, or to open to try to think outside of Christianity or something like that, or it is the wrong place to call. I don't know if you guys understood me. Right?
Aron, you want to go first?
That was a lot.
No, don't be sorry. No.
Natalia, I have to step up for just a second. So
yes.
Chat with it for a moment. Thank you.
Yes. Hi. So it sounds to me like you're saying that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that people use Catholicism to kind of hang on to hope. And what do you do when you don't? Yeah. And are you asking kind of what can you offer them when they say, how can you have hope when you don't have God kind of situation? Exactly. Yeah. I mean, how do you feel? I mean, do you feel like the 5 years that you've been an atheist, you have more faith or hope in humanity than you did when you were a Catholic?
No, I do have more hope in humanity.
You do or you don't? Yeah.
I do. I mean, human is just so wonderful. There are so many cultures that we are amazing. We are just simply amazing. We can have more than just one book or one teaching. We can learn from multiple. We can learn from philosophy. We can learn from I don't know, for history storytelling. Even we can learn about how we learn empathy from history, for telling story, and history teaches you a lot about things, especially political. We know that things has been repeating itself in authoritarians. So it's like
absolutely
don't get close just with one book or with one religion. We are so vast that seriously,
absolutely.
Just get up and yeah. And
it always surprised me. Mm-hmm. It always surprised me about religion. One of my best friends in high school became an ordained Southern Baptist minister, and I went to his office. That he was principal of a Christian school, and we had a conversation. And I said, "Okay, well, I'm just confused. You completely buy into one perspective because some guy in the 1800s made up this portion of doctrine, but nobody investigates to see what's true. Why wouldn't all the religious leaders get together and figure out what's actually true and eliminate what's false? Why wouldn't they do that?" And it just struck me, and it seemed to strike him that way too, that it is just all made up. You're supposed to believe what you're told because you were told to. It's all cultural, it's all tribal, and there's no truth to any of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think now when you know so much stuff in a way, you want to share it because you can have a lot better life. For example, I like a lot more and if even in the surface, but I understand that in Eastern philosophy, seeing is not something. It's just learning about stuff, or the sin or your feelings, the seven deadly sins, for example, are just things that are telling you, that are inside you and telling you, okay, you need something, you have lost because you need to fulfill something, you have envy because of something that is inside you. So it's not a thing, it's not something bad. That's part also of psychology. People should not go to a priest to go to a psychology, for God's sake.
What a great job being a priest is. Just think, you've got of your whole village, your job is to know everybody's darkest secret.
Oh my God.
And all that entails. Just imagine the power the priest must have.
Yeah. It's incredible. I mean, it's just incredible. Not only about Catholicism, it has to be about everything. It's part of all the sacrifice. I mean, very convenient. Sacrifice the best thing and give it to God and give it to me also. Give me the best meat. Yeah, sure. Wherever. Yeah, you're going to give it to the God and also yourself. Praise who have power for something. And history is just so funny and sad. It's always a fighting of power or something like that. But well, I guess I keep going, and I do have something that is very interesting. Is ask about people what is their God. I mean, when they are claiming God, I know that they are not. I know that God doesn't exist, so they are claiming for something, an idea. Could be power, could be security, could be asking for a better tomorrow, could be anything, or want to have authority, or want to have a representation of something good. For example, for some people, God is good, therefore I claim for God, I claim for something good. And that is something for everything. I was reading the Odyssey again. Everyone do a proclamation, oh, Zeus come, oh God, or Odin, or something. So I think it's very interesting when you doesn't have a choice to say, oh no, the God doesn't exist. Also let other people explain your God and you will understand their person, what is the most value to them, especially if they're atheist. That is very opening. For example, I was talking with someone and told me only gods know what is going to happen, and it's because they just lost a close friend. No, they lost. He just lost her father to a horrible skin cancer, and it was horrible that. So she was still dealing with the loss, and she was only God knows what you're gonna to live, and rather to say, oh,
because
God
you always
doesn't
ask the
exist or something
question
like that.
whenever
Yeah,
something terrible happens, you ask the question why, and that's where
yeah,
religion comes from. Why did
yeah,
this have to happen? And
yeah,
then you've got to imagine somehow that there was a reason, and people naturally imagine that somehow things are looking out for you. I mean, I remember when I was young, I just skated through everything so effortlessly that I felt I was blessed. I did.
yeah,
Even I didn't believe in God, but I still felt like somebody was something is looking out for me that I don't, I'm never going to have like fantastic success, but I'm never going to have tragic failure either. I'm going to live this nice sweet life, and I've been saved from the extremes. I'm going to be in the middle of the road, comfortable and happy, and that's just how I am. It felt like it was destined to be that way.
yeah. And then you think about other people. I have a blessing life. I'm not gonna to lie. It's not perfect, but compared to other people, it's a lot better. But just when you see the injustice, or not only injustice, but the suffering of other people, you cannot say, "Oh no, God is perfect" or something like that. That just
For me,
doesn't happen.
it was never looking at people that had more than I did or that had things better than I did and envying them. I never had to look very far to see somebody that had shit way worse than me.
Yeah,
People who were in such a bad situation that I frankly wouldn't even been able to cope with it if I was where they are. So that's been the perspective. I've always felt charmed over other people my whole life.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yes, with I do definitely still like when I was in school and think, oh, okay, bring a heavenly kingdom here on earth, in the, not in heaven, not in the astral, but for the people that live here. That's something that even though I'm an atheist, I still read the Bible and think about what Jesus supposedly say, and it has sense. I mean, they live a lot of Jews live a horrible life, and they die horrible by hungry or something like that. So I do understand that, but at the same time, God is we know that God is not gonna to bring it. It's something that we have to work to
Well, that
that.
would be the other thing.
And
Here I am as an atheist and a hedonist, in my youth again. I knew people through my mom who was involved in her church and all of that, and so I would meet the people that she knew. Abject poverty. They're giving everything they can over to the
Mm-hmm.
church. They're giving away
yeah,
10% of their income. This is independent of taxes. They're giving away
Yeah.
oh my,
10% of their gross income. It's supposed to be net, but people like my mom were giving at least 10% of her gross to the church. And so all these people that she knows, abject poverty, they have nothing. They live miserable lives. I wouldn't be able to sustain if I was in the situation that they were in. And did they deserve it?
No.
Not for anything I can see.
No.
So it seems to me that their God failed them. He didn't fail me because I didn't trust in their God. I'm skating along having a great time. Y'all bought into this God and your life sucks. That's what your God did for you.
Yeah, that's something. I'm trying to talk to my mother because we are still have some trouble economical, and told my mother. She would tell me, trust in God, trust in God. Remember your grandmother. My grandmother was poor and not educated, so the only thing that she know is praying. I remember only saw she praying all the time. Yeah.
Trust in God, trust in God. Well, you have to say to your mom, at what point did God fail? At what point can we say, okay, you missed your cue, this was it, you're done?
Yeah.
After a lot of time, she's starting to listen to, because I told, okay, we need help. We need professional help of someone that can help us in how to pay bills and all that. So yes, I'm trying little by little. I understand why my mom, for example, believe in God. She literally say, sometimes I need to scream and ask someone for help, and the only one that can listen to me is God. So I respect that for that.
Yep, I get that too.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, but still, little by little, you have to let it go little by little. And also trying to tell you, I'm here, just to my family, to the person that I'm close. And ironically, because you don't believe in God, and you in a place when you love God, and in my case, a God can supposedly provide other people and doesn't exist, it's more like, oh great, the big guy doesn't exist, the boss doesn't do anything, so it's my work to do the best that I can, or else that is how I take it. Well, God doesn't exist. Well, it still can be good, and other people can be good, and that is what I want to tell to other people. You doesn't need God for that. You just need believe in yourself. Go learn more. Morals need are morals also are evolving. It's just the person to think that a person 2,000 years ago know everything. That's just ridiculous. We know more. Just sad to think that
I
2,000 years ago.
I proposed a thought experiment.
Depressing. Depressing. Yeah,
I proposed a thought experiment a couple years ago. Am I moved? Okay. I proposed a thought experiment a couple years ago that in the moment of your death, that you know, before your brain completely shuts down, you've got this, you get to relive your life, making whole new decisions. And somehow or other, it may be an illusion. It may only, but you get to experience it because time lapses or whatever. You get to experience the entire life, having made all these other choices if you wanted to. Now, somehow you innately know this is not your actual life. You're not going to be judged for this. For whatever you dream, this is the real life that you get to live over. All you get to be as cruel and as horrible as you want to be, or nice.
Yeah.
You can do whatever, right? And you're not going to be judged for it. It makes no difference at all, whether there's an afterlife or not.
Yeah.
How would you, if you woke up again as you're 18 years old, and you just wake up and you get to live your whole life again, and you can make new choices, and you know new things. Would you? And you knew you could be as evil as you want to, and it doesn't matter, right? From the perspective of what God is going to do, it doesn't. The police may have a different opinion, but it doesn't matter what God is going to do, right? But you wouldn't, would you? If you actually had the opportunity, if you just woke up, you had a stroke in your sleep, and instead of just dying, you wake up in a new 18-year-old you, and you get to do it all over again, just once. But you wouldn't be. It wouldn't be like the caller from India that said there's no morality, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of gratification would you get out of victimizing people? You would actually be, and I've thought about this so much, and I've asked other people, and they all come up with the same kind of thing. They would live life fully, they would love fully, but there wouldn't be any victimization. There wouldn't be, even if they knew they could get away with crimes without going to hell, that actually has no impact, zero. So I think belief in hell actually has zero impact on our current life. Certainly, when you talk to all the people in prisons, right? They were all Catholic or Protestant or whatever before they committed their crime, and they committed it anyway. So that had no impact. But if you could live it all again, you wouldn't. Even if you knew there was no God and there's no God that's going to judge you, you would still be more likely than not a moral person most of the time.
Yeah. That's remembered to one of my favorite video games. I'm a nerd. So, do you know Final Fantasy Tactics? Have you heard about that? It's literally what you say, the plot. Yeah, but it is one of the best games. It's literally it's about an heretic. The main protagonist was a nobleman, and they teach you have to be the best knight, and he realized that being a knight is being obedient to your Lord, and if the Lord tells you kill someone, you have to kill him. And then he realized that God doesn't exist also. Everything is just a plot. And the character, it is about that. The objective is just what you say, Aron. If they tell you God doesn't exist, your morals, your ideology is bad, everything. Will used to be a good person. I really recommend that you see it because it was re-released. It was released in 1997, and it was re-released and remastered in November last year, I think. It won against the award of best of best strategy game, and everyone that was playing that was seeing and playing and reading the story about the video game, everyone was telling, okay, this is definitely, it was made in 97, and you still see everything political intro, how people lie, how people manipulate, how the short tell lies. How, I mean, I will never forget one part of the game than say that in the game is like in medieval time, but with fantasy, but there is a Jesus, literally, and it's called San Ayora and have 12 disciples. It was betrayed by one. It's very much allegory of Jesus, and I will never forget the game when I played in high school. Then tell me, I learned that the people that we call Son of God it was just a man, and they make him a god. And finally, I lost my faith, but I don't care because now I know the truth. That line just hit when I was in high school and was like the beginning of beginning to think, okay, perhaps everything that was taught to me was a mistake. So I will never forget that. And I do recommend that you can see it because it is really impressive. It really think about that what desperate people do when they're desperate is to have a lot of intrigue politics. I doesn't like it when there are little demons and the demons are real. I like more when everything was just political and that. But yeah, it still is very good, and I do recommend that you see and give a watch called Final Fantasy Tactics, and it was made and the balls of the director and the writing of the story because he literally he posted on X that he released the story in 2025 because it was public, and he said because I made that story based on the Japanese collapse and how everyone just loved their jobs and everyone just lived through paycheck, and everyone do everything to maintain their jobs. And I released the game because it is about social struggle, and in 2025, we need the story again. It was post of an official Final Fantasy social media, and he posted, like, say, I give again this history because we are in social struggle. And I was, oh my God, that is some balls to have to declare something like that. Because normally people just try to be neutral, and he said, no, I'm not going to be neutral. So I really recommend that you check it. Final Fantasy Tactics. You can see it. And I just pretty much, I really love it. And balls to the director. Well, yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to have to check it out. Yeah.
Did you say Final Fantasy
Tactics?
Tactics?
Oh, tactical.
Okay, Tactics. Gotcha.
And this came out in 1997, you said? Final.
I think 1997, I believe so. But it was released last year. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it's it's a computer game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Josh.
Okay, got it. Yeah, it's a role-playing game. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we are gonna.
It is an excellent game, also.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thanks,
all right,
Josh.
we're gonna read super chats here in a moment.
I just want to also give you a high five, because to become an atheist in a country called the Savior is pretty impressive. I'm just gonna say that. It's been on my mind this whole time, and I just wanted to like point that out, that is, you're going against the grain, and I support that.
And isn't that also where we send prisoners who cannot be saved?
Yes, this is true, and that's
you have no idea how much I want to talk. I'm going to just say something. I admire. Yes. Do you guys know Monsignor Romero? No.
Say that again.
Monsignor Romero.
Monsignor Romero.
No.
Monsignor Romero.
Is he a priest
Monsignor Romero was the arzobispo from El Salvador in the 80s. Before the Civil War started. Then Civil War for me is still important.
Yep.
And he lost a close friend that was a priest, but the priest also was a guerrilla.
Oh wow! Okay.
So
double duty.
Yeah. So he is both of them, Monsignor Romero and Rutilio Grande. Both of them are canonized, and Monsignor Romero is saint for the Catholic Church.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he is the saint of El Salvador, but the more important, I admire him because when he lost his friend, he realized, okay, the government, the guerrillas are going too far. There are kidnapping people, killing people, and he started to tell into homilias or into mass. Okay, now I know that these guerrilla people kidnapped this person, and he told it in Homilia. So everyone was and he is the absolvist, the maximum authority in the church, Catholic Church in El Salvador, and in the mass he tells the government just kidnap this person, just murder this person, and all that. And in the end, in the last mass that he preached, he told the soldiers, please disobey order and don't kill the people. And for that, the government of El Salvador in that time, and it was authoritarian. Sadly, El Salvador is always have been in authoritarian, including today. We always been in authoritarian regiment, and the government just sending to kill him. And he know that he was going to die and say, I don't care. I want to say, please stop killing. Please stop this madness of kidnapping people, both the guerrilla, both the left, both the right. I just want peace for the people. And he was murdered. And when that's why he became upset and an icon. And I still believe that he was an amazing people, and people need to know it. He gave literally his life to tell the truth and was murdered for that. And I really dislike, for example, this organization that is trying to make forget him or may forget the war that happened in the 80s, because now there is a new war and all that. It's a point of view and history, but history must always be remembered. You have no idea how many things I want to talk about that, but I would prefer to not talk about it and do it in a little more circular way. But yeah, I mean, maybe Monsignor, the history of the memory of Monsignor Romero. He told the truth, and he say, even if that means that they kill me, I will say the truth. Well, it's the same from some Jesuit priests that were also murdered by the government in the Civil War. I study in UCA in a university, and they almost every year they remember these priests and were telling they were just advocating by human rights, and they were murdered by that. They were Spanish people, so the Spanish government is still trying to make justice, but it is impeached by the government of the El Salvador, because things are like that. But I admire them because they told the truth, and that is why I doesn't have I cannot be too much angry with the Catholic Church in my country. I can understand in other countries. I can understand, and even so, with my sister, we're telling we cannot believe we are now allies to the Catholic Church. But well, here we are. That now we believe that I'm allied to the Catholic Church. It's not perfect, but
okay.
Well, let's Latin America they do some stuff. Yeah.
All right, we're going to have to close it up.
Yeah.
All right. So
thank you, Josh.
Thank you much.
Well,
and we're going to be reading super chats. Thank you very much, Josh. Okay. And somebody pull super chats up on screen. We're going to take turns, Natalia.
Sounds good. Okay, where do we?
First one.
Hold on. Where?
Just one moment, please.
Sure. Yeah. I can also go to the pane. Live entertainment. Oh,
yeah,
yay! Hi.
See it in the Zoom
there. Thank you. Okay, $10 from @STomp10. Hi, this is Michaela. We talked a few months ago, and what I want to know is the biggest piece of advice both of you have for skeptic/atheist content creators. I hope to Natalia. I hope hopefully to see Natalia more often on the line. I think that's what you meant. Thank you. Aron, would you like to take a shot at this one? And thank you, Michaela.
I don't know how to give advice like this because I don't know how to speak to anybody's strengths, because I do like phylogeny stuff. I don't know anybody else that does that. Erica has a master's degree in paleo primatology. Forrest has degrees, and I think in evolution education. And I don't know what anybody else's strengths are, so I don't know how to advise that.
I have more general thoughts. Yeah. I mean, mine is just the comments can be brutal, but screw them. It's a thick skin kind of game. Aron knows this. I've been doing this for a long time, and you just sort of have to, especially with trolls and we talked about this, I think did we talk? Well, Alexander and I, we were talking about this before the show started, but I think maybe talked about it a little bit, is just knowing when to engage with people and when to just say, okay, they're not arguing in good faith. They're just trying to be, trolls and to make your life a living hell because they can and they want to. So it's more about like picking and choosing your battles, if that makes sense. But I am big on getting your stuff out there. Also, one of the biggest things too is it's never going to be perfect. We strive for perfection, but if you really do, or if you are a perfectionist, you might not ever get stuff out. So the best thing is to do is the best you can, and just be open to learning and growing.
Speak to your passion and what you're good at. Definitely.
Yeah. What he said.
Right. Now, this one is mine. $5 from the Atheist Mechanic. Fuck ICE. That can't be said enough.
Fuck ICE. Fuck ICE. Fuck ICE.
A Gestapo.
We do.
In the United States.
We do. And it's, I didn't want to say this because Josh was on a roll, but I was raised by two women from El Salvador. They weren't my mothers, but I had nannies growing up, and I watched them go from undocumented to documented and bring children over the border in the trunk of their car. So for me, this is one of those things where as a child, it was always known that just undocumented people are family. And also as somebody who studies history, and actually not even like a half a mile from where I live is where after the Mexico signed over California to the US, this was Mexico. This is indigenous land. And it just, I'm sorry. I'm angry. I'm very mad. Okay. Moving on. $5. Sorry. I've got vested interest in this game. Very much so. Okay. $5 from @SJL. SJL. Stop trying to make me an atheist. I don't want to make you an atheist, but I'd love to make you a skeptic. Fuck ICE.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, Aron, I think this is you.
$5 from SJL. That's the only one I'm seeing. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one. Let me pull up the other one. I had two screens.
But thank you,
$9.99 from Outwitted by Fish. Eschatology, the online discussion over whether anyone in the afterlife gives a shit.
I give about 3 shits a day because I'm vegetarian. Anyways, moving on. $9.99 from @WillJudy995. Early voting, February 17th to 27th. Primary election day, March 3rd. Help us smash Christian nationalism. Thank you, Sarah, so much.
Will
yes.
Judy, by the way, is a superhero.
Okay.
I mean, he is a hell of an activist. You should all know who he is.
I'll follow.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
$10 from Hoffen.
Ooh.
What was the Pope's favorite TV dinner? A Mary Magdalene cuisine.
Oh my God. Oh, I love that. Yeah, there we go. Okay. $10 from @Paul_691. Natalia, the mug is awesome. Please return my Uncle Charlie to me.
I forgot to bring out my mug.
I'm glad you like it. There we go. There, yeah. I didn't use a butt week mug for once. I used my sweet flanged male. I love him so much. Thank you. Thank you, @Paul691.
Now, which one is this? Is this yours or me?
This is you.
Okay, $10 from Paul691.
Ooh.
Immigrants make America great.
Agreed. My partner is an immigrant, and I wholeheartedly agree with that statement, and I love him very much. Okay, $5. He jokes that he's stealing American jobs by being with me. Anyways, wait, am I a job? Okay, moving on. $5 from @O_BTW_I_have_hemorrhoids. I love that it took me that long to get to that.
Oh, by the way, I have hemorrhoids.
Oh my God. You just wanted me to say I have hemorrhoids, and that's totally fine because you don't know, and maybe I do, maybe I don't. You don't know. Aron, what would you do if I encountered Kent Hovind at the supermarket and he said, "This body wash make my pores all tingly. Bing bong."
I cannot begin to speculate. I wouldn't have any interaction with Kent Hovind that wasn't recorded. And I would have to have time to think about what an appropriate response is because I know it would not be peeing on his leg.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. You need to save up some hot urine trouble. Anyways.
So that's the end of that.
Oh man, this was fun. This was a good time had by all. Oh my God, I have hemorrhoids. Thank you. That made that's when I know I'm tired, when I have hemorrhoids. Yes. Yeah.
All right. So
good times.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Where can you find Natalia? Where are you on the internet?
Oh God, you can come to my house. Just kidding. Don't come to my house. You can find me. Please don't. You don't. First of all, it's a mess. If you want to come to my house and clean it, @Natalia13 Reagan on Instagram. On YouTube, Natalia Reagan. Find me.
ARONRA on patreon.com/ARONRA. Please become a Patreon and support me however you can. I have to come up with $1,800 to fix up a tire on a motorcycle. I need all the help I can get. Good night.